So today I am at the Kaleidoscope Cafe and I'm here for the SAMRO membership roundtable. They're going to clarify issues surrounding membership, etc., etc., etc. So should be interesting.
I've been thinking about the day that you met me, had it figured. About the man I'm supposed to be, you were so in love. Only with the idea of love, and I'm sorry that I can never measure up. Your love is a game play by rules, but I never play by the rules. You can lie to me back to you. Are we not all with the truth? Now there's no reason to stay. You don't see me that way anymore.
What we're here to discuss today is the SAMRO membership rules. My name is Andre Leroux, for those of you that don't know me, and I suppose that's the bulk of you. So how's it? I run the SAMRO Foundation and I run the marketing department. Just to introduce you to the panel, on my right is Mr. Loyiso Bala, known as a composer and a performer, but we know him as a board member. So he's not only a normal board member, but he's assisting us in chairing the task team, looking at the membership rules. And the changes to the membership rules comes from you guys. So Loyiso has gladly taken on that challenge for us. Next to Loyiso is Karabo Sena. As you can see, he's a stocky young man. So he's the guy that we use to do the battles when it comes to rights holder services. Today is not necessarily about member queries and rights holder services. If they do arise, please have a chat with Karabo afterwards, or if there's a technical issue that relates to membership issues as well as the rules, Karabo will assist us there. Then we have our CEO, Notando Migogo. And our CEO is not only an artist herself, a copyright lawyer, and she's not new to this block, having run 2 collection societies before, Dauro as well as Capasso, and having done battle for us at various parliamentary portfolio committees, and now assisting us with the change process at SAMRO. So Notando will be taking you very much through the presentation. Then on my other left-hand side, we have Melissa Moore, our company secretary, a gentleman who will be helping us with the minutes, whose name I just about forgot. Hello, Alan, how's it? And then we have Victor, and Victor's quite important to us in that he's been helping us at SAMRO with our governance. And when it came up that we needed to have a look at our rules, Victor is the dude that sent you guys the survey and the questionnaire. So if there are any specific detailed questions in relation to that survey, Victor can assist us with those, and he's assisting us with this process so that we do it properly.
I'm so glad that we've come to this time and that we do have an audience here today, but we're also very much aware that you're not just an audience, but that, you know, there's going to be a participatory, if I can say it like that. That is not about the fact that they are board members here or there's executive and members, but the fact that by the end of today, we can really just sort of get out, you know, like walk out of here with one mind and hopefully as well in one direction. I just want to give a special welcome to my fellow board member, Mr. Gabby Leroux. Absolutely robust, and you know he's done really, really well. I think not only just for the industry as a whole, but really for looking after the interests of not only just composers in the Western Cape, but also the music fraternity as a whole. So a special welcome to you, Gavin. Round of applause for.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. It's my first trip to Cape Town as the CEO of SAMRO. So I'm really happy to be here, but the circumstances make it a little bit, nerve-wracking in a sense, but I think it's the timing of it is also really important. As Andre said, and Loiso, last year already during the EGM and the AGM, we knew that we're going to be having these roundtable discussions because the issue around the membership rules, how they work, people understanding how they work, were clearly problematic. So we knew we would be having these meetings. But obviously over the last 2 weeks, SAMRO has found itself in the media, and even before then, actually, we're in the media as well. So I would love you to indulge me to also speak on things a little bit broader than just the membership rules, because I think the opportunity has presented itself, and I think it's important that we take advantage of it. I joined SAMRO last year in July, and there's really been, a focus on looking at the way we do business. Is it the most efficient? Are there any blind spots? How do we close those blind spots? I mean, the membership issue immediately became a point when people were saying, but we don't even understand I don't know what type of member I am, and I don't understand the membership tiers. So we've been on a process of reviewing, just introspectively looking at how we do business. So over the last 9 to 10 months, this has been a core focus. But I think in terms of strategy, instead of looking at things tactically, we came up with a new strategy in September, which really looked at improving the way we do business right now, but also very future focused. How do we future-proof our business? There's a lot of collective management organizations worldwide are facing a lot of challenges in the sense of, with the media and online space, the efficiency with which music users are at, it makes it very challenging for organizations like SAMRO and other organizations in the music business to remain relevant if we don't keep up with those technologies and the way that music is consumed. So these are all challenges we've been looking at quite rigorously in the last couple of months. I also want to touch on the fact that soon after I joined SAMRO in July, we called the EGM where we announced that we'll be closing the investment in Dubai, which was the SAMRO subsidiary that was opened in Dubai in 2015 into 2016. Following that EGM, at the AGM, we presented preliminary results on a forensic investigation that we had undertaken on that project. And the results and the scope of the investigation, which was done by PwC, was not satisfactory to the membership. And I think the message was quite clear coming out of the AGM in November that we need the scope to be wider. We need to get more specific details on what happened, why did it happen, how did it happen, and then what. So just to give feedback on that, we then requested quotes from PwC, again, from Sekela Tabisa, which is an internal audit firm based in Johannesburg, and a third firm, I think Season Zaluba, to help us. Of course, you'll know that with the audit fraternity being in the state that it is right now, it gets quite difficult to even find an auditor that we feel will stand, up to scrutiny. So we got feedback from those three, and we decided to go with Sekela Tabisa specifically because they said that they would be able to look at liability, both civil and criminal liability, if that's what it becomes, in South Africa and Dubai. Because the other quotes that we received seem to be quite limited in terms of their ability to, act in a satisfactory manner even outside South Africa. So we are in full swing with that investigation. Like I'm saying, it will span both South Africa and Dubai to see if there's any liability, whether it's from a third party, from an executive member, former executive member, board member, former board member of SAMRO. And for us, for me, being the new kid in SAMRO, and for the team that we're building, it's so important, and it's becoming increasingly important, that we fully investigate where we're coming from, where we are, and where we're going. So I just thought, in terms of an elephant in the room, that I just address that up front. We are hoping to get some kind of substantive feedback by the end of financial year, which is the 30th of June. But obviously it depends on what happens with the investigation, progress, etc. But that is an ongoing investigation right now. The purpose of this meeting really is to look at these three broad topics. First and second being what was discussed at the AGM, and as being necessary to be reviewed, which are the membership rules, particularly as they pertain, not particularly, and as they pertain to eligibility to be on the board. Just to take you back, this matter came up when we called for nominations to the board. We had several nominations, and the majority of those nominees did not qualify. They were not eligible to be considered for the board. When we then communicated this, our members then said to us, "Oh, but then how do you become eligible for the board?" We then explained that it depends on what membership tier you're on. And we realized that people don't even understand or know what level member tier they're on. I don't know if you all are aware of exactly, are you an ordinary member, candidate member, full member? And we realized that people don't understand. But most importantly, I think it became very clear that perhaps our membership rules or tiers or criteria is a bit too elaborate and complicated to understand. So we started interrogating whether we need to actually simplify these. And that's where that's the first aspect. And then clarifying who can be considered for a board seat at SAMRO. That's point number 2. Point number 3 was not raised at last year's meetings, the general meetings. However, you probably would be well aware of the newspaper reports that have come out recently. It started, we first had the first report in, not this Sunday, the Sunday before, in the City Press. There were a number of online discussions around the matter, and I saw this morning as well, there's a follow-up article in the media, where our distributions and the way we handle distributions, particularly as they pertain to arrangements that include public domain works, are treated. So obviously as we've been discussing, as we're preparing for this presentation, it obviously, even though we were going to be looking at distributions anyway, we thought let us actually bring them up front into these member discussions right now. So we will be looking at that and discussing that. So that's where we are. So I'll tackle the 3 areas in 3 tranches.
It's been a long day and it's not over yet. I'm currently at the Sound of Ackermans. It is now about 4:25. It's the first chance I'm getting now to just film and recap what happened today at the SAMRO Membership Rules Roundtable. It was at the Kaleidoscope Cafe in Claremont. Started just after 10. And the turnout was okay. I wouldn't say it was great. They obviously made provisions for a lot more people, but you could put it down to the fact that it was on a Tuesday morning in the middle of the week. The schools had just gone back, so you can understand why people of a certain age, especially the younger members, were not present at today's roundtable. I think there were around about, I'm guesstimating here, about 30 people, majority of whom were the older generation. And like I said, when I left there, because they were still busy and I needed to leave in order to get here, they were supposed to carry on until 2, and when I turned around as I left, I saw more younger guys that were sitting at the back. But just to give a quick rundown of what happened today, the main points from today's roundtable was membership rules. At the moment, there's a 3-tier membership structure, and how it works is when you've just registered but you're not earning quite yet, like I think if you haven't earned a certain amount of revenue or earnings from royalties, then but you've crossed the 100 Rand earning mark, then you are sort of like an ordinary member. And then you get an associate member, which means for a certain year or 12-month period, you've earned more than 1,000 Rand. And then a full member has other criteria linked to it. And I'll probably do another video where I go into detail where that is concerned. But they were proposing that maybe the membership structure should be re-looked, and they're proposing that they scrap the 3 tiers and move down to just 2 tiers, so you are either an associate member or a full member, and full members can be elected to the board. And they also went through what makes you eligible for to be a part of the board, and how the board is made up, that sort of thing. A lot of other issues also came up. There was an article in the City Press about a dispute between a SAMRO member and her former manager with regards to royalties, and there were allegations that her arrangement, and this is something that I actually didn't know until I read the article, but if you arrange a work, if you are an arranger, so that doesn't necessarily mean that you have composed the song, but if you are an arranger of a song, and this was pertaining to public domain tracks, is that public domain compositions, then you are entitled to 16.7% of that performance royalty. There was a dispute because they're saying that what happens to the other 87.3%? What has been brought up in the SAMRO Roundtable today from SAMRO is that they don't keep that money. It is redistributed to the members of SAMRO. So what they are also proposing, and what they have done, what they've put out there is like, should that percentage be a bit more? Because a public domain work is, a song becomes public domain or out of copyright when that particular work is when it's 50 years after the death of the original composer or composers. Then that work goes into public domain and is out of copyright. So what they are saying is that should you come about and do a new arrangement of that composition, again, the composition isn't yours, but now you've made a new arrangement of that, then shouldn't the standard percentage be a little bit higher? There were proposals of 50-50, and then the other 50% gets redistributed. And when they say public domain, according to one of the other members of the panel, when they say public domain and to the public, the members, the active members of SAMRO is that public, so it just gets redistributed to the other members. So, but there were a whole host of other things that came up, and obviously because you're dealing with creatives and composers, there were some people that were quite vocal, quite emotional, but everything was held in a very adult manner. And what I've noticed is that there's actually, we have to be very careful about thinking that, and it's an important point that was raised by the CEO of SAMRO, is that we shouldn't be thinking of SAMRO as the entire music industry. They are one cog in the wheel. There are so many other things at play that contribute to SAMRO having to do their job properly. And one of those things that came up was obviously about radio stations. And this is a very important point, because SAMRO is going off the information that they receive from radio stations. And radio stations, unfortunately, not all of them are reporting accurately what they have played, which delays matters for SAMRO. And if they can't get proper reports as to what was played, how many times it was played, and when it was played, that delays matters for the composers of that song to get their royalties. Like I said, I don't want to carry on too much, but that was kind of the gist of the entire roundtable. And maybe I'll do a series of videos, maybe for Studio Talk, to unpack all these different areas, but it was very, very interesting. And I would encourage you, if more of these opportunities come about, where SAMRO will be doing activations or roundtables, panel discussions in your area, and you are a member of SAMRO, please make the effort. If you are given enough advance notice and you have a day job, see if you can, if it's possible, to put in a day's leave to go and check it out. It'll also give you an opportunity to chat to other SAMRO members, especially the ones of the older generation. It'll give you a chance to chat directly to, that's if the CEO is part of the roundtable and panel discussions, or other members of SAMRO and other sort of like board members, etc., etc., etc. So you can empower yourself and equip yourself with the knowledge that you need. Some of the stuff I picked up today was absolutely vital, and I hope to share as much of it with you as possible when it comes to future videos, especially in Studio Talk. Maybe the Studio Talk videos will actually be online before this video gets to YouTube, but either way, it's given me new inspiration and new motivation to just make sure that you, as the fellow music maker and SAMRO member or potential SAMRO member, gets the knowledge that they need in order to make a success of their career.